next, cause I will make plans with you. And I won't let them fall through. I think I lie for you. I think I die for you. Jealousy cry. Just can't feel what you
Hi, this is Tracy Braxton, and you're watching the Bobby
Hi, I'm Laura with the BobbyPin.com.
Hi.
And my question is, Crash and Burn for a debut album is a very interesting name. And I would assume that you're trying to make a statement.
He's calling out his community over the fraud. He said when he comes here, that's what they do. They encourage you to get all the welfare benefits, such as Section 8, housing, food stamps, you name it. That's what they do.
Problem with what's going on in Minnesota, and Abdi Iftin joins us now. Abdi, thank you for being with us here today. What is more to the story? What are the deeper issues?
First of all, thanks for having me. There are much deeper issues. I've moved into the U.S. And in Maine about 11 years ago, and basically the first question that members of my community asked me, which tribe I belong to, and when I mentioned, so I fell into that category. So there's a deeper tribal rivalry.
So notice now, in the Somali camp, right, in their community, they got their own war going on. They got all these tribal differences going on. And so what they do when they come over here is still the same attitude. Instead of adjusting to America way of life, they're bringing their way of life over here. And after all, we have to adjust to them, because what they said that they have taken over, that Minnesota belonged to them. It was promised to them 3,000 years out of the Bible. But he's calling this fraud scandal out. Somali refugees calls out his own community. This is Fox News.
In the community, much larger than anybody can actually imagine. And then interestingly enough, even though I spoke very good English, one of the things that I was told to do is go find a discounted housing Section 8, which I didn't know what actually it was, and sign up for all the other community benefits within the government or the state. And my response was,
so this is why it's hard for our people to get it. Now, I think the young girls, the young couples that are coming up, right? I think that they should be entitled to have first choice. I remember when I tried to sign up to have a house bill with Humanity, wasn't anything in there but Somalian refugees. All of them was getting approved to have their house built through Humanity. They turned me down. She says, oh, well, you work hard. I can tell you work hard, but you need to get this hospital bill paid. That's what she told me.
Here to work and build, basic and become part of the American fabric, which is
I'm
pretty much what I've been
incredibly
working on
fascinated by what you're trying to say, so much so that I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to clarify. So when you felt that pressure and you were told to go join, public welfare programs once you moved here, where was that pressure coming from? Are you saying it's like cultural, like neighborhood, like neighbors telling you this is what you should do? How were you pushed in that direction?
Well, it was coming from the community that actually thought that was just a way of life, right? I instead of being asked about what kind of school I want to go to, what subjects I would love to study, and those interesting conversations weren't there at all. And my response was, can we do better things? Can we as a community actually integrate? And let's listen to that word, interestingly, because that had got me a huge backlash. This is many, many years ago.
So integrate into this society, he says, got a backlash. But I'm speaking in terms of FBA, Foundation of Black Americans. Now they're saying that we are divisive because we decided to delineate from them. They were already separated from us. They didn't want to be bothered with us. So now they have a problem with it since they are in trouble. They want Black America to speak up for them, but it's not happening, y'all. Somali refugee calls out his own community. Fraud scandal.
Many people thought, no, let's not talk about integration. And I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for a pushback against this idea of sort of melting into America, becoming part of America. And
Right.
let's just be very clear that I haven't arrived here as a young man. I mean, I came here at age 29, so I was well informed about my culture, my community, growing up in the civil war in Somalia.
Incredibly, you're telling me you not only were discouraged from integrating into America, but you were also encouraged to stick to your tribal allegiances from back in Somalia, and those tribal allegiances and divisions remain here in America. That stat I showed, I'm curious, Abdi, about the percentage of the Somali population on some form of welfare, 80%, and stays that way over a 10-year period. Does that surprise you?
The problem is,
in some ways,
the problem is that they skin is the same color as FBA, Fundamental Black America, and so they go down in statistic in history as these are Black people that are doing this. We need to get that straight. You stay Somalian on this fraud. That's where we want you to stay. I don't want to hear this Black shit now. You are Somalian, like you said, me no Black. Me no Black, we Somalia, and that's what you do.
That's not. Let me give you one example here. When I was in Somalia, a huge part of the population in Somalia, we're talking about 20 million people in Somalia, a huge number of that depended on $100 that family members in the U.S. sent back home. So there was not a lot of work to rebuild a country or get to work or, just basically building things. So this whole idea of receiving things the easy way has unfortunately actually evolved and became part of our way of life.
Wow.
So they were like that before they get over. Let's look at these stats now. Yellow say that's native household. The gold or the brown or the tan is Somali. So let's just look at this. Now, 21% of native household getting welfare, right? Now, in the blue is Somali immigrant household, 81%. That's right here in the United States, 81%, right? Getting welfare, right? 78%. So you can go all across. When you go out, let's go to the food stamp. Food stamp, 54% of Somali. They is overwhelming, dominating the chart when it comes to Medicaid, food stamp, cash, and any welfare that they can benefit all. That's what they do. Now, I have a problem with that. I'm a senior citizen now and I'm retired. And so I do get retirement, but they could throw me $22 in food stamps when I have worked. When I say work, I put 50 years in. 50 years of work in this country, getting up every morning, got to be to work at 6:45 every morning, 5 days a week. And now that I'm old, they gonna throw me $22 a month. And I'm gonna tell you what made me pissed off, because my neighbor next door get $3,000 a month for food stamps, you guys. I don't know. I don't see not a kid in sight over there. They are grown. Those kids in her house are grown. They're in their 20s, almost 30 years old. I don't know how they get them, but they get them. But anyway, fraud scammer, Somali refugee calls out his own community. It's their way of life. They were getting welfare over there, and they expect the same over here.
Welcome to
Welcome to Black Type Tatted. This is your Black excellence, right? Black inventor, Thomas Elkins. Did you know a black man invented the toilet? Please hit that like button. I leave like 300 something more, you guys, so I can get to 1,000. Please help me subscribe, like, and turn your notification bell on.
the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel. Thomas Elkins was born in 1818. He was an African American dentist, abolitionist, surgeon, pharmacist, and inventor. He lived in Albany, New York for most of his life, but traveled during his service as a medical examiner of the 54th and the 55th Massachusetts Infantries. In the late 1800s, African Americans was a growing population in pharmacy work. It was also considered easier for pharmacists of color to conduct trade with other people of color. African American druggists were particularly doing well in the South, where there was a greater African American population. Elkins was part of one of the first waves of blacks in pharmacy. He received his education in pharmacy from Dr. Wincoop, a physician and druggist of the old school, and spent about 10 years working with him. Elkins ran a small drugstore which was located on North Swan Street for the first 4 years and later moved to Broadway and Livingston Street, where it lasted 13 more years. Thomas Elkins trained T.H. Sands Pendleton and helped him land a position in the pharmacy of H.B. Clement, where Pendleton went on to have a distinguished career. Elkins studied dentistry under a man named Dr. Charles Payne, who hailed from Albany and Montreal, and also studied surgery with Dr. Marsh, also of Albany. Mr. Elkins was a very distinguished gentleman of many, many talents. One of his greatest accomplishments was an improvement on the chamber commode, the predecessor to the toilet. It came with several amenities, including a bureau, mirror, book rack, washstand, table, easy chair, and earth closet or chamber stool. You would think for an invention that so many people use daily, sometimes multiple times daily, that this man would be more well known for his invention. For all intent and purposes, he invented the modern day toilet. He made going to the bathroom a much more pleasant experience. Prior to him, there were no book racks, washstands, and
Child, this is the best invention ever. I don't know if y'all noticed there used to be such thing down in the country in the woods called outhouse. It was the most foulest smelling place you can go to. It was located outside. Many a time snakes be surrounded there. It was terrible. Now, we did not have an outhouse. Our family always owned a bathroom, but there were others in the neighborhood where if I'm over at my friend's house playing, I had to use the outhouse as well. So shout out to Thomas Elkins. Did you know that? Did you know that this black man invented the toilet? Thomas Elkins.
the other amenities that he added to the chamber commode. Another great invention that he introduced is the refrigerating apparatus, intended to prevent decay of food or human corpses. These two great inventions are used daily around the world today.
What would the world be like without black inventors? Look at that toilet. Beautiful.
No matter which one you use, we have Mr. Elkins to thank.
Black history, y'all. I always tell y'all that if you can't remember the name, just tell your children this black man made that toilet. Y'all, that's Black history. And you say it long enough, they're going to find out who the name themselves, you guys. But his name is Thomas Elkins. Thursday, the New York Post discovered the Instagram account of 40-year-old Ahmed Elmi, a one-time refugee who was married to Omar from 2009 to 2017 in a marriage viewed by many, including President Trump, as fraudulent. He currently resides in South Africa. For years, Trump and his fellow conservatives have claimed Omar and Elmi are actually sisters and brothers. The marriage was supposedly consummated to help Elma obtain American citizenship. Elma Instagram is filled with pictures of him in fashionable clothing and surrounded by men in high-end cafes. In his profile, he refers to himself as a dirty dandy. So this is what they're saying, that Representative Ilhan Omar has allegedly married her brother. You got that? You got that right? You're reading right? Yes, they say that she married her brother. And Trump got a upshot of that story, and y'all know Trump ain't gonna let it rest. Umar marriage fraud exposure, right? Umar family bought Elmi over from London in 2009. Now, Elmi is the brother, y'all. So he came over from London in 2009 to try to extract him from whatever. But anyway, the congresswoman tied the knot with him. That's her brother. I started reading about Uma for Powerline. Somebody is saying it. She started writing about it. That's how she discovered that they were married, you guys. But Trump got a slip of that, and Trump is saying that Elma marriage was fraud, and the way she got her citizenship or naturalization is a fraud. Therefore, she's going to be deported. And I just want to say one thing too about that man that is saying that African American women have one night stands, so therefore our children don't know who their fathers are. I just would like to say that this Congresswoman Omar been married 4 times. She have been a single mother as well, and they said 80% of the single motherhood just right there in Minnesota alone is with a Somalian woman. So y'all can miss me with this stereotype, but did Omar marry her brother? Is that her husband, y'all? Who is the father of her children, right? Oh my goodness. Who's the father of her children?
Ilhan Omar married Ahmed Abdissalam Hirsi in 2002 and had 2 children together in 2008. They got divorced. In 2009, she married Ahmed Nur Said Elmi, a British Somali, and divorced in 2017. Then she reconciled with her first husband Hirsi, with whom she had a 3rd child, and they remarried in 2018 and divorced in 2019. In 2020, Omar married Tim Minnitt. Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar married Ahmed Abdissalam Hirsi in 2002 and had 2 children together in 2008. They got divorced. In 2009, she married Ahmed Nur Said Elmi, a British Somali, and divorced in 2017. Then she reconciled with her first husband Hirsi, with
So here you got a congresswoman been married 4 times and been a single mother in between time. And then you got the guy in the mosque supposed to be teaching about love. He teaching about stereotyping African American women that will lose one night stand. Therefore, our children don't know who their fathers are. What about your own sisters and brothers? Yes, married to each other. Married a sister and brother, allegedly married to get into the country.
Stacked against him, but that didn't stop him. He became a pharmacist, a dentist, and, most memorably, an inventor. Elkins looked at those dreadful chamber pots and thought, there must be a better way. His improved chamber commode made life cleaner, healthier, and a bit more dignified for everyday people. But Elkins didn't stop there. He even helped pioneer refrigeration, making homes safer and food fresher. His story, like so many black inventors, was hidden away by history. So next time you flush, remember, it's not just plumbing. It's a legacy of innovation, resilience, and brilliance we're only just beginning to celebrate.
So that's Thomas Elkins, right? Black Villains, hashtag 494. Black Villains 494, the forgotten innovator. How Thomas Elkins changed toilets forever.
5 kids, 5 kids, 5 different big daddies.
A few days ago, I came across this clip of a particular religious service at a Somali American mosque. And they had a pretty interesting conversation going on.
Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. Damn.
So these Somali Americans,
I had 5 kids, 5 kids, 5 different big daddies.